Welcome to the World Trade Center. This tour is presented to you by Discover Card. In a few minutes, you'll be on top of the world. Our observation deck is 1/4 of a mile high. The Twin Towers are the tallest buildings in New York City and among the tallest in the world. Construction began in 1966, and the first tenant moved in 4 years later. 200,000 tons of steel were used to erect the World Trade Center and 425,000 cubic yards of cement. That's enough to pave a sidewalk from here to Washington, D.C. Each Twin Tower floor is about 1 acre in size. The World Trade Center complex includes 5 other office buildings besides the towers. There are all kinds of businesses here: banking, finance, insurance, transportation, import and export. We even have a mall. In the 5-acre plaza between the buildings, you can see sculptures by such notable artists as James Rosati and Fritz Koenig. During warm weather, there are free lunchtime concerts of jazz, country, swing, R&B, and musical theater. Now, get ready for the tallest visit of your life. We'll meet again in the express elevator to the top of the world. Welcome to the top of the world. This express elevator is traveling at 20 miles per hour. That's 2.5 floors per second. We're heading for the indoor observation deck on the 107th floor at a height of 1,310 feet above street level. While you enjoy the sky-high views from our windows, check out our other amenities. And if weather permits, look for the escalator on the south side of the deck to visit our outdoor roof platform at 1,377 feet, the highest in the world. Have a great visit. You've reached the top of the world. This is the perfect viewing place for the most populous city in the United States. This is the city known as Gotham, the Big Apple, and the city that never sleeps. One thing you can say about New York City, it's been around. The Dutch first settled the island in 1624 and called it New Amsterdam. The first Dutch governor, Peter Minuit, paid the Indians a mere $24 in trinkets in exchange for the island, which the American Indians called Mannahatta. We now know it as Manhattan. Of course, New York City is not only Manhattan. 4 other boroughs come under the New York City banner. Just below you is the East River. Across the river is the largest of the boroughs, Brooklyn. The Dutch settled the city of Brooklyn in 1647 and developed it into one of the world's largest cities. In 1898, the city of Brooklyn became a borough of New York City, along with Queens, Staten Island, and the Bronx. Now look at the buildings below us. Find a distinctive, tall patina green spire. This is 40 Wall Street. When it was built in 1929 for the Bank of Manhattan, it was the tallest building in New York City, until just a few days later, when the Chrysler Building stole the title. There really used to be a wall at Wall Street, which marked the northern boundary of New Amsterdam. The Dutch built it there to guard against the American Indians and the invading English. Today, Wall Street is much more than a street. As the world's most powerful financial market, the whole planet watches its every move. New Yorkers are passionate about their city, downtown, uptown, and midtown. Here at the World Trade Center, we're downtown. Where all those skyscrapers are crowded is midtown. The writer Kurt Vonnegut called New York City Skyscraper National Park. You're now looking at some of the most famous skyscrapers in the world. Front and center is the Empire State Building. It's the very tall, narrow one with the huge antenna. It was built in only 2 years at a rate of 4.5 stories per week. It opened in 1931 ahead of schedule and $5 million under budget. In 1945, a B-52 bomber was flying through the city too low and crashed into the 79th floor. One of the plane's engines sailed through the building and out the other side. But except for the hole where the plane hit, the building was fine. The only other planes buzzing around the Empire State Building were the ones chasing after King Kong as he clung to that antenna in the classic 1933 movie. But years later, King Kong showed his preference for another New York City skyscraper, the one you're standing in. Look to the right of the Empire State Building for the Chrysler Building, a silvery gleaming pinnacle. The building's architect, William Van Allen, designed the building for Chrysler Motors owner Walter P. Chrysler. Mr. Chrysler had said he wanted
a bold structure declaring the glories of the age.
The unusual Art Deco style is decorated with reflective steel gargoyles and sculptures. There are eagles protruding from the corners and shimmering replicas of Chrysler car parts adorning the surface, fenders, hubcaps, and radiators. As the building neared completion in 1929, architect Van Allen made sure the Chrysler Building would be the tallest in the world. 40 Wall Street neared completion at the same time and looked like it would be slightly taller, but Van Allen surprised the world by suddenly erecting the Needle at the top of the spire in just an hour and a half. The parts had been hidden within the upper floors. With this added height, the Chrysler Building won the contest, but the title of tallest would be forfeited just a year later to the Empire State Building. Here we are face to face with our twin. You're looking at One World Trade Center. You're standing in Two World Trade Center. The Twin Towers are almost exactly alike, except Tower 1 is 6 feet taller. It also has a large antenna on top for TV and radio. That tower doesn't have an observation deck, but on its 106th and 107th floors is the famous restaurant Windows on the World. And speaking of windows, the Twin Towers have over 43,000 of them. Who washes all those windows? Machines. More than 600,000 square feet of glass are cleaned by automatic window washing machines. They move up and down the outside of the building on stainless steel tracks. Two people found the outside of these towers too exciting to resist. In 1974, Philippe Petit, a French acrobat, successfully walked across a tightrope from the corner of this tower to the corner of Tower 1 directly across from you. That's 1,350 feet above street level, without a net. It was an upward climb too, since Tower 1 is 6 feet taller. And then in 1977, a mountain climber named George Willig scaled the facade of this building from bottom to top in 3.5 hours. He used suction cups to hang onto the window washing tracks.